Question 14 is about linear approximation. It would have been a very easy question if they had just asked you to find what is the estimate of this. But since this is the electronic part, we can use calculator, but there is two parts. I will just show you A and B. The first part would be applying the linear approximation formula and getting it into this equation. Whereas the second part would be using this estimate. You're finding this linear approximation and finding the estimate of that. So finding this estimate is very easy. Let me show you in calculator. All you do is put square root and whatever is the value 1.2 and that's it. That will be the answer. It will be 1.1 is the approximated value. So you can easily find it in calculator. The reason for a linear approximation is to find this difficult problem without calculator. There is a chance instead of giving you these as the option 1.1 or so on, they might give you half plus half x. So anyways, let's use the formula and solve it. The problems are not that difficult, they are straightforward. You should just remember a formula. The linear approximation of x would be equal to f of x naught. So this is very simple. Whatever x naught is given, the same thing. You just apply the value and you get that. Plus derivative of x naught. Now this is another thing. You should derive this function and then multiply it with x minus x naught. So we will see this step by step. First, you need to know what is the x naught value. What is the x naught? Over here given as 1. So we need to find f of 1 because f of x naught is f of 1, right? What is f of 1? Square root 1. That is 1 itself. Now we need to find derivative. So what is the function derivative of x would be? Root x is there. What is the derivation? 1 by 2 root x. Now substitute the value of x naught. X naught is 1, isn't it? So it will be 1 by 2 square root 1. So it will be half. Why? Because 1 by 2 times square root 1 will be 2 itself. Or 1 by 2 remains. So first thing is x naught. X naught basically is given as 1. So we find f of 1. So over here, let me just substitute. It's 1, right? And then f prime or f dash or the derivative of x naught. Derivative of f of x is here. We substitute the x naught value and get half plus half. And then what next? Multiply it with what? X remains, but we have minus 1. So we will write this as well. It will be minus 1 here because x naught is 1. So now we will just multiply it 1 plus half x minus half. So 1 minus half will be basically half plus half x. So this is your answer. Now if you substitute this x value instead of 1.2 and then solve, you'll get the radical. See here, this is it. This is the answer, half plus half x. And if you substitute x as 1.2, you will get 1.1. That is basically the radical of 1.2. Let's do one more problem here. Again, it's the same thing. It's just that you need to remember derivation. You need to remember the formula. That's the first thing. Remember, linear approximation of x is first you need to derive it as it is with x naught, whatever given, plus derivative of x naught multiplied with x minus x naught. This is it. So now first let's solve. What is x naught? 0. So it'll be 0 plus 1 the whole power 1/3. 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 power 1/3 is 1 itself. So then we will derive this given function. So here 1 by 3rd comes down. It's the power rule. 1 by 3 comes down multiplied by x plus 1. What is the 1/3 minus 1 will be negative 2/3. It's all by power rule because we subtract this by 1, isn't it? So 1/3 minus 1 will be minus 2 by 3. And now we will substitute 0 here. Instead of the x, we'll substitute 0 because x naught is 0. And we will have 1/3 times x is 0. So it'll be 1 to the power minus 2 by 3. Anything 1 raised to power anything is 1 itself. So here the answer will be just 1/3. And this is f derivative of 0. So let us substitute back over here. What do we have for x naught? F of 0 is 1 plus 1/3 of x minus 0. So here the answer is very simple, 1 plus 1/3 x, because you multiply here, 0 is gone. So it'll be the answer. If you substitute 1.2 over here, then you will get the answer for in decimal as well. But you don't need to do that. So the final answer is 1 plus 1 by 3x. Similarly, do the other problems by yourselves. Here, see, we have chain rule. When we derive it, where is the derivation? 1, see, they have taken it as half to the power minus half multiplied by 2. Why? Because we have to derive whatever is inside as well, right? It'll be 2x derivation 2. And then this and this cancels out, and we just substitute over here. See now, this is not done. We don't use this. We have to substitute what x value as 0. Then 9 to the power minus 3 is 1 by 3. So you can just use the calculator. 9 power half, it'll be 1/3. And then you substitute back. That's your answer. Similarly, guys, please do these. Just remember what to derive. You should know the derivation rule and substitute and solve it up. This one over here, you can just put in the calculator. Just put 2 divided by 0.99. You will get this answer in the calculator. Okay, let's do this one because it's trigonometric function. Now, formula doesn't change. It is approximation will be equal to f of x naught, then plus f prime of x naught times x minus x naught. Now then, over here it will be f of x naught is, I'll directly substitute as 0. So here we have sine 3 times 0. Sine 0 is 0 itself, so here the answer is done. Now what is f prime of x? First let's do. It'll be sine derivative is cosine 3x multiplied by 3. Why do we write this? Because it's the chain rule. So cosine 3x is done, multiplied with 3. And now then, let us substitute the f prime of 0, because x naught, right? We need to find for x naught. So it'll be 3. Let me write it first. Over here, 3 times 0, cosine 0 it'll become. What is cosine 0? It's 1. So the answer is 3 basically. Cosine 0 is 1. 1 multiplied by 3 is 3. You can put it in the calculator. And now then, let's just write it out over here. What is f of x naught? It's 0 plus derivative will be this one is 3 over here we found out. What is x value? X itself minus what is x naught? 0. So we have to multiply this 3 inside. It'll be, see, 0 is gone. 3 times x. Then 3 times 0, that's not required. So answer is 3x. Now you can directly check this value as well in the calculator. So let's type it out. Sine 0.3, but make sure you're changing the mode to radian. Shift mode 4, and the answer is supposed to be 0.29. So that will be the, 0.295, 0.3 approximately. So that's the thing. You can check this. The second part is very easy. You can try it in the calculator. But the first part is the one which you need to solve it by the formula. Same thing over here. Please try it by yourselves. You'll get it. Okay, let's just do this. It looks a little bit complicated because it's pi. Okay, so what would be the answer here? Sine 3 is 0.14. You can see what is approximate. Okay, now here you don't have this option at all, right? 0.14 is not there. Let me just solve this up. Pi minus 3, you can see it's 0.14. The approximate value is equivalent to the answer. So you can just solve all the 4 options and get the correct answer. But what do you do for the first part? Now let's solve it using the formula. So your linear approximation is given as f of x naught plus f prime of x naught multiplied by x minus x naught. So we need to find what is, now x naught is basically pi. That is how many degrees. You can consider in degrees as well. It's 180 degrees. So let me just substitute over here. First of all, I'll write one in detail. X naught means the sine x becomes x naught, isn't it? So over here, x naught value is given as pi, so it will become sine pi. Now then, what about the sine pi is 0. So it starts with 0, 90 degree, 180 again 0, and it goes to 270 and 360 is 0, right? So we know this is 0. You can use your calculator, guys, but make sure you're putting in radian mode. Now then, what is derivative? We need to derive this. F derivative of x naught, I can directly take it as, because I've written over here, is cosine x naught. Now, what is the value of x naught? It's pi, right? F derivative of pi would be equal to cosine pi. What is cosine pi equal to? So it starts, cosine function always starts up over here, isn't it? It just goes down, and then you can see it's -1. It's not 0, it's not 1, it's -1. You can just put in the calculator, you will get -1, so the answer is -1. Now you just substitute back over here. F of x naught, see basically this value, f of pi or x naught, it's the same thing, right? Is 0 plus, what is derivative? Over here we have -1. And then after that, multiply x minus pi. I hope this is clear. Now what happens is this -1 is multiplied inside. It becomes -x and plus pi. So you can write it as pi minus x, or you can leave it as -x plus pi. But since you're looking for options, your options will be written as pi minus x. The positive will be written first minus the x value. That's it. So you can follow this. This is more easier. You do not need to draw the graphs. Over here, you can just use the calculator to find the values. And that's how we get it. So that's the answers, guys. And that's another easy question. Just remember the formula. If it was part B, you can directly use the calculator. But for part A, you must use the formula and solve it up.